Hey, good morning. Ohio, Ciao
Good
boy
morning.
san, and soy bona. Welcome to That's Life with Evolution. I am your host, Evolution, and today I have a very, very special guest. I have Kyle Ament. Good morning, Kyle. How you doing?
Hey, good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing great, man. Welcome to the show. And for people who don't know who you are or what you do, could you please take a moment and express who you are and what you do?
All right, thank you. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
Kyle Ament. Live in the Kansas City, Missouri side
Mhm.
area, and I have acted in about 50 projects
Wow.
um, in about 7 years. So I have, we were talking before the show started. I probably do 7 or 8 things a year.
Mhm.
Um, been lead in like Wholesome Grove, The Best Day of Your Life, and River Beauty, and
Mhm.
had a major supporting role in Troublesome.
Mhm.
I've also Dead Legion series. I was in 9 episodes before
Wow.
I sadly died in that. Uh, and Agony and Ecstasy, I was in 4 episodes, and then there's numerous other projects. I've had a lot of supporting roles. It's usually, one, two, or three lead roles, and the rest are supporting. So I've done that quite a bit as well.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Sounds like you've been busy for sure for the last 7 years, and hopefully the listeners can go out there and check out some of your work. And I had a chance to check out some of your clips, and it's very very good work.
Thank you.
So I would strongly suggest you keep that going. Uh, Speaking of keeping it going, we're going to get rolling with this in a second. But first, I'm going to mention our sponsors: JG's Lounge, TGBTG, Golden Diamond Productions, Vive. VYV comes in a vial. You shake it and sniff it, and if you're a little sluggish, it gets you going for the day. You want to help support the product and the show, go to myvibe.com, type in the code Lution15, Lution15, and do just that. Support the show, get a discount on the product. Um, okay, so now we got all that out the way. You ready for this?
Yeah, I don't know what to expect, so I'm as ready as I can be.
I promise I won't bite. The title of today's episode is "Work Hard, Play Hard. Excuses and laziness are not allowed." Um, what we do on That's Life with Evolution is we present a topic that's true to life in the day. And some people sit on the left, some people sit on the right. And what we do is present it in a way that people can meet in the middle or do a little something better with the situation that they're working with. And how we get this conversation going is by way of last question. And we're going to get into that right now. So, once again, the title for the day is Work Hard, Play Hard. Excuses and laziness are not allowed. And last questions today is actually two. First question is, why are people not serious in their work? And the second question is, why do people pass on fun? Um, my response to the first question, why are people not serious in their work, is plain and simple because they are lazy. And then the second question is, why do people pass on fun? Is because they tend to make excuses. What are your thoughts on this so far?
Well, I'll tell you what, my thoughts on the first one, I don't entirely agree with you,
Okay.
but I don't totally disagree either because I know
Hmm.
that's true sometimes.
Hmm.
But think about if you're interested in something,
Hmm.
um, like if I'm interested in acting, then I'm going to make time because it's basically uh, getting ready for roles.
Hmm.
It cuts into my Netflix time. It cuts into my
I can
Amazon Prime time,
I can
but it's
relate.
like, yeah, so I got to be motivated to do it.
Hmm.
But to your point, I do think some people don't really have an interest in things.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
if you don't have an interest in something, you're lazy. Like if you have a job that you hate,
Hmm.
then your boss is going to give you a hard time because you don't have an interest in it, and so you're kind of lazy with it. If you have an
Absolutely.
interest in it, yeah, if you have an interest in it, it could be that same person, like Kansas City Chiefs playing the first game today.
Hmm.
Um, they might be all pumped up. They'll do all the extra work. They'll memorize stats. They'll do everything with Kansas City Chiefs.
Hmm.
But whenever they're supposed to do their actual job, they don't do anything. So the way it works.
Well put. Yeah, well put in strong point. And yeah, I definitely can see exactly what you're saying, and I see it more often than not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, if it's just saying if you're not interested in something, if someone said, "Hey, like if my job had something to do with golf, I think golf is the most boring thing under the sun. Everyone else
Uh-huh.
thinks it's great. My
Hmm.
dad loves to golf. My dad's 83. He goes out on the golf course. He's really proud that he can walk the course most of the time without riding and spend
Uh-huh.
4 hours out golfing. All these other old dudes and to him it's really interesting. He puts golf on. He was here this weekend,
Hmm.
uh, him with his lady friend, and they had on golf, and I'm like, man, if my job has something to do with golf, like to me, that's like the most boring thing. I think it's boring to play, but man, watching it on TV, you got to be a
Oh
real
my.
fan to watch
Oh
it
my.
on TV. You got to be a real fan. And
I totally
so,
agree.
yeah, so I would have to like if I had a job like your job is to take notes and watch these, golf tournaments or whatever,
Mhm.
I would be so lazy and unmotivated. And you would say that guy has no work ethic.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, okay, so what about the second portion of those questions? Why do people pass on fun? And I said because of excuses. What do you have for that?
Hey, now that one I agree with you a little more on.
Okay, okay.
Like I have some coworkers in town because my routine job I travel the U.S. and Canada, and there happens
Hmm.
to be a couple of people that working in Kansas City. So I went and ate dinner with them last night, and one of them's talking about what are you going to do for the game, and I'm like, I'm going to sit home and watch it because they're staying real close to Power and Light. So for
Uh-huh.
all I know, they're going to walk to Power and Light and all that. I'm
Mhm.
thinking, okay, I got to drive there, and I
Right.
got to pay to park. Then
Hmm.
I got to walk up, and everybody's going to be drinking, and I don't want to drink that much. And then I got to
Hmm.
drive home, and it's just like all loud and all the people like. So I'll say the same thing. It's the same kind of thing as before, like interest versus laziness.
Hmm.
I am interested in watching
Hmm.
it at home. I will watch the Chiefs at home. I've been to a few of the games.
Hmm.
It's cold. You got to stand up. Kansas City Chiefs, you got to stand up the whole time in the lower levels, hit that seat in front of you and the other team. So you can't basically sit down till halftime.
Hmm.
And like to me, it's more fun watch it at home. I
Yeah,
can,
and
yeah,
it's a
I mean, I
lot
can,
less to tolerate and deal with.
yeah,
Yeah, the experience of being there live is great,
it is
but
great. It is great. But like I said, like your memories of it, like my
Mhm.
memories are standing up the whole time.
Uh-huh.
I went last with my dad, and it took I don't know 2.5 hours to park,
Yeah.
2.5 hours to get out.
Yep.
Uh, People spill beer on my stuff, and all that.
Oh,
You can't get mad at people when they do. You can't get mad,
yeah.
and it's like I don't know. Like to me, it's like at home I can turn on pregame about a half an hour before,
Mhm.
kind of watch, catch up with it. I'll watch the game. I'll watch the whole thing. I'll watch every Chiefs game that there
Mhm.
is. Um, Not necessarily like a big enough fan to watch everybody else's games, but I will watch the Chiefs play.
Uh-huh.
And and I'm just like everybody else. Hey, Taylor, I hope you're there.
She's become their good luck charm, right?
Yeah, yeah. I got a friend from Memphis, Mark Salisbury, and he always makes fun of the Taylor Swift phenomenon here in Kansas City.
I think she's one of the best things that happened to the Chiefs here lately.
Yeah, I think I saw something, this little meme, and it says, trading Taylor Swift for I can't think of his name, but Mahomes' brother. They said that was the best trade Kansas City's ever made.
That's awesome. Oh man. So we're gonna get back into what our focus of today is: work hard, play hard. Uh, Excuses and laziness are not allowed. So we're gonna focus on work hard first. Um, and to me, working hard generates benefits. Um, so when you work hard, you basically get the benefit of you get what you want, or you end up sometimes getting more than you want. Um, Ended up being what people consider the haves. Uh, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's true to an extent.
Mhm.
I had a job for over 3 years. I was the with the contractor for Department of Corrections mental health programs for the state of
Mhm.
Missouri.
Mhm.
Had We had 21 prisons, and I was the program director.
Mhm.
And I worked incredibly hard. I worked every weekend. Anytime I was off work, I worked about 4 hours. A lot of times I had to go into the office anyway if I was off for a day.
Mhm.
I worked very hard. It's the most money I ever made in my life, but boy,
Mhm.
I earned every penny of it.
Yeah.
And I made a decision to not do that. So it's kind of like if I were interested in, like, if money was my motivator, my only motivator,
Mhm.
I would have stuck with it. But like it's and everybody, you can find any job you can feel like you're helping people.
Mhm.
But I really like to feel like I'm making a difference in helping people. And you'll
Absolutely.
meet, like, there's certain people, like, they work in fast food industry, and they will take their job serious, and they
Mhm.
will view themselves as, I help customers and I help people, and they will do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Same thing, any job you
Mhm.
can view that way.
Mhm.
And so, now my job, I teach people how to de-escalate angry people, how to talk to people that are upset, and
Mhm.
I truly feel like I'm making a difference, and I really like doing that. And as far as like the filming stuff, I mean, I love acting, and to me, it's just really fun, and I love it when people have watched my work and enjoyed it. And
Mhm.
it's not making a difference in the same way, but it
Mhm.
really is. It's a truly something I enjoy, and I think
Absolutely.
you're just motivated to work hard when you like what you're doing.
Mhm. Speaking of liking what you're doing, I love what I'm doing, and I really love it when a plan comes together and goes right down the line like it's supposed to. And guess what's next on my list?
Oh
Make
my
a
goodness.
difference. Make a difference. So
Oh, okay.
you're
Yeah.
falling right in place. And typically, what people don't realize is when they get booked on my show, I tailor the show to that individual.
Okay.
Um, and a lot of people are like, well, how do you do that? You don't even know me. But I have a method. It works. And if it isn't broke, don't fix it, right?
My man.
but it's going right down the line, and you kind of highlight it, make a difference already. And that's true. When you work hard towards something, when your passion's in it, your desires in it, and you love what you're doing, you definitely make a difference when you do that task or that job or
Mhm.
career. Um, and I think that if people aren't happy or they don't have the energy behind what they're doing, then maybe they should be probably pursuing something that does excite them.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, I think you're right. The problem is sometimes it's difficult. Like, other people have to have value in it so you can make money.
Hmm.
If my passion is um, cosplay, which it's not, but if if it was, I mean, I guess you'd have to figure out a way to actually turn it into a job if that's really what you want to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's someone out there who has done that, but I think it's probably few and far between. Same as like,
Mm-hmm.
professional athletes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people want to turn, their love of baseball, football, basketball into a career, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to be like naturally really good at it, but mainly you have to work really, really hard. Not
Mm-hmm.
just the enjoyment of the game, like like these. I mean, the NFL, because it's starting today, the season starts today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guarantee the Chiefs are not just having fun. They're spending. I saw Travis Kelce interviewed, and he was talking about they memorized 400 plays. And
That's
that's, I mean, if you memorize 400 plays, I mean, that's like a tremendous amount to memorize. That's beyond the fun part. The fun part might be playing when you win,
right.
especially,
Mm-hmm.
but the background time that you have to sacrifice if you want to do what you want. I mean, if
Absolutely.
you want to do, like, you want to do what you want to make a difference, you want to make the team, all that stuff, then it's the people that work hard, not just the people with natural gifts.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe there's some natural gifts. I read a book years ago called Talent is Overrated.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fantastic book. And it talked about like talented musicians and people that are a natural. And they looked at the number of hours they practiced,
Mm-hmm.
and it correlated exactly to the elite level practiced. And I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say 10 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
where other people didn't. That Tiger Woods, I think, was brought up, started playing golf with his dad was a golf coach, I believe. And so Mozart, I'll bring up him because I'm sure on his stuff. His dad was a music teacher
Mm-hmm.
and taught instruments. And so as he was growing up, he was exposed to it and had an expert to guide him, and
Mm-hmm.
started as a child and started, like he would write things and they would play it. And you get, you spend so much time on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it takes like 10 years to become like an expert at something.
Mm-hmm.
And the more time you spend, for the people that spend all that time in those 10 years of really focusing, um, they truly learn everything they can. They practice, they test, they figure out what works and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it really is hard work and dedication that makes the biggest difference.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into something you kind of hinted on this a little bit, but I think it will go all the way to the actual terms. When you work hard, excuse me, you don't seek a job. You seek to be the owner or have some type of ownership in it or leadership. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's true. I actually do think IQ sometimes plays a factor in that.
Hmm.
I think if you have someone, um, it's great. I read so many things and I can remember some of them. And one of the things that I read years ago was talking about like bricklayers.
Hmm.
And you'll have a bricklayer who has a very high IQ, a lot of times becomes a specialist, where
Wow.
they won't just lay the bricks. They become some sort of a specialist where they learn, like, what could I do to make this better? And then they specialize. Um, and it's the same in any job. Like a lot of times you'll get someone who has the work ethic, has the intellect, has the ability to see, to guide where they should go.
Hmm.
Um, and so like you get someone who's doing a job that maybe pays pretty well, maybe doesn't, but they
Hmm.
decide to focus and they get this specialty. And that specialty is what kind of puts them over the top. And I think it's the same, like, I don't feel like you'd have a big advantage in every profession.
Hmm.
I think, like I said, the work ethic is probably number one, but I think having the ability to, like the intellect to say, okay, this isn't working. This, maybe I'll try this, and being able to try new things,
Hmm.
I think would increase your chances of success.
I agree. So basically, I categorize this working hard with uh, being warm. In other words, you reach for the sky where the sun is. And yeah, thank you. And it kind of adds to what you're saying. You know, you don't just enjoy it and love it and desire to do it, but you go the extra mile to put the knowledge behind it to make you even better. Um, I think a lot of that is lost today. You know, with people not wanting to spend the extra time to go to school to educate themselves, they rely on um, alternative ways of getting the knowledge or try to go the quick route. I'll say it like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think that's very true. I've met people that, um, like somebody might say, my passion is acting. I've always wanted to be an actor.
Mhm.
But then they don't audition for parts. They don't prepare. They haven't had any training. It's like,
Mhm.
kind of like more like their passion is performance,
Mhm.
but they don't really have. And again, I'm not an elite actor, but I can analyze the roles,
Mhm.
think about the relationship with the character. It's basically, it just requires so much time to prepare.
Mhm.
And if I just want to get out there and do it. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about like with Jim Carrey on part of the script, it said Jim Carrey be Jim Carrey. So you can, if like on the script, you can do that. Like superstars might
Mhm.
have, this is what I'm going to do, and you just be yourself and be goofy. But most people memorize the role, understand the role, become the role, think about the relationships with everybody else
Mhm.
that's in the scene, um, plan out what their hand motions are going to be. I mean, it's like a lot of preparation. I'll give you an
Uh-huh.
example. Like if we were doing a scene and here, I'll pick something goofy here. And I'm holding this up and talking about it. Well, yeah, it's reverse
Uh-huh.
of what I'm seeing in the camera. I hold this up and I talk about it, and this is
Mhm.
what I'm doing. And then we do that 10 times, but one of the times I hold it in the other hand,
Mhm.
you can't use that take. And
Right. Right.
so you have to like not only think about what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, where you're going to stand or sit, or how you're going to do it. You also have to think about all your body motions.
Mhm.
And that's what makes it more complicated, where you have to know like one-page scene, you might spend, a couple hours memorizing it, thinking about it, maybe a couple more reading the script, thinking about where you fit in with the characters, the other characters' personalities, thinking
Mhm.
about any other interactions you've had with the person. Like you have to do all this preparation
Mhm.
because you want to match the emotions with your character.
Mhm.
But you also want, if you're going to use your right hand when you talk, you want to make sure that you use that same hand when you do it the next time. Similar motion.
Uh-huh.
You'll see it with like with hair. I've been there where they've had like script supervisors, and the script supervisors making sure that you follow the script, um, that you don't miss big things. But a lot of times they're also like continuity.
Mhm.
So if a lady starts with her hair over her ear, which I don't really have to worry about, if they start with their hair over their ear, they want to make sure they do it every time,
Yep.
because you'll see it sometimes in movies
Mhm.
and shows where their hair's over their ear, and then the next time they go back to them, it's not.
Yep.
And that's because it could have been that they filmed, that could be that scene took 2 or 3 hours,
Mhm.
even though like it's just 45 seconds,
Mhm.
of whatever you're watching, but it could have taken a long time, especially if there's multiple characters talking where they're
Mhm.
going back and forth. Like, we're going to film the group. Now we're going to film you two together for, 3 takes. Now we're going to film you by yourself for 3 takes. Then we're going to film this person 3 takes. And
Mhm.
then by the time they get back to her and it's been 2 hours, she's moved her hair from here to here, maybe the other
Uh-huh.
side. And so you have someone there. Sometimes they take pictures of you,
Mhm.
like, all right, take a picture. This is what you need to look like every scene. And I've done it rolling up my sleeves. One thing I was touching my face like this as I was listening, and and then I only did it one take, and then it's kind of from the side view. You can see me doing this, but then it goes back. But I mean, uh, people do move their hands, so it
Yeah,
could be
right.
that I moved my hand away right as something happened.
Hmm.
Um, but there's things like that too. Geez, I've forgotten the question. I've gone on a
No,
huge
no, no.
tangent.
You trust me. You are in perfect position of where you need to be, because the next thing I have to say here is, the people who work hard, they don't quit. And literally right after that, I have, they raise the bar or they raise the ceiling, or something you mentioned already, they become the bar or they become the ceiling, like you were mentioning, becoming the role or becoming the, the particular character that you were selected to play that part. So you're right on target, man. this,
Well, no, and and thinking about that, like on quitting, like a lot of times kids start out doing a variety of things.
Mhm, mhm,
So you might have a little boy playing soccer and playing basketball and baseball. Maybe they go to the band. They do a little bit of everything.
mhm.
And then as they get older, most of the time they choose one or two things and they kind of specialize. And
Uh-huh.
since the Chiefs are playing the first game of the year, Patrick Mahomes, played. He was good enough to play baseball in college,
Right.
and probably good enough. He could have continued on for all I know because he seems to be great at everything. But
Mhm,
he was a pitcher, and he did both at Texas Tech, where he's a quarterback and he's a pitcher. And
mhm.
at a certain point, he decided I've got to specialize in one or the other, and he chose football. So I mean, he made a decision,
Mhm.
and at that point, I mean, he did have to quit something to prioritize something else.
Okay, so I kind of agree with you there, but I also kind of disagree. And let me explain why. Um, if he was a pitcher in baseball and he's a quarterback in football, to me, that's quite similar. I think he didn't quit baseball. He just brought those talents from baseball, and he utilizes those in football. And when you hear about how incredibly strong his arm is and how he can make these throws, and if you look at him pretty closely, it almost looks like he's pitching a baseball, in some of those throws. So I think what he, in his decision, probably, I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking in his position, he might ask himself, how can I utilize both my or all my talents in one area? And I think the best choice to make would be football. What do you think?
I think there's definitely crossover because you're throwing a ball. And you're developing the same strength. You're
Mhm.
primarily using your right arm to do something. Like there's more crossover in that than if he was a trying to think of something that doesn't use a ball, but all I can think of is track or um, swimming or something. Like if he was
Mhm.
or an archer. Okay, so if he was an archer
Mhm.
and a football quarterback, there's probably not as much crossover in skill, or
Right.
a swimmer and but I would think a baseball pitcher and a quarterback, they're both all eyes on them,
Mhm. Yeah.
throwing the ball sometimes as hard as they can. I would think there is some crossover skill,
Mhm.
and you probably throw a lot more baseballs than you do football.
Absolutely.
So, you would get those reps in
Mhm.
baseball that I'm sure helped with his foundational football skills, just practicing baseball so much.
I'm sure. And he might have thought about longevity as well. You know what I'm saying? As far as his shoulder or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, those are great ways to look at that. And I think we're pretty accurate and right on point with what we're trying to do today. So we're going to shift gears here and move from work hard to play hard. Uh, so when I think about playing hard, I come up with rewards. You know what I'm saying? It's how you reward yourself from working so hard. You basically get to do what you want, or you get to end up doing more than what you want to do, or even thought was possible. Um, and it creates kind of like a new territory for you because of the hard work that you put in and the money that you generate, because you usually typically generate more money when you enjoy what you're doing. So once you start receiving those rewards in finance or whatever, then when you play or when you take vacations or whatever, or just live life, period, uh, you get to do more than the average bear, um, and just enjoy the success of it a little bit more. What are your thoughts?
Um, I think I guess I'm thinking some professions have more time off than others,
Hmm.
and a lot of times, not always, but the professions like where people are more intense with their work and they're working really hard, they're making lots of money. A lot of times when they take off, they do big vacations. One, because they've made a lot of money. Um,
Hmm.
but I think it's true to an extent. I Just like me, I'll take time off to watch Netflix and oh my god, it's the most boring guest we've ever had in my life. No,
Oh no, you're great. You're great.
so no, but it's like I like people want to do what they enjoy. Like I have a grandson now, named Oliver. He's in Overland Park,
Hmm.
a nice Kansas boy. No, he's just like, yeah, no, he's 10 months old.
Hmm.
And I really do love him. I love watching him. Like you can take one or two steps now, like it's just uh, it's just really fun. I enjoy that. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's like I said, I don't want to go to watch the game somewhere in a big crowd of people, but I would love to go hang out with him.
Okay.
Just different,
Yeah.
yeah, different things are fun to different people. There's different stages of life as well.
Hmm.
But I enjoy that. I think the rewards, like I travel a lot for work,
Hmm.
so I travel all over the U.S. and Canada, and so the traveling to me is pretty much like work because sometimes I don't get direct flights, so I do spend a lot of time at airports,
Hmm.
and I also spend a lot of time eating out and going to different places and all of that. A lot of times by myself,
Hmm.
and uh, just I spend a lot of time away from home. So I love to be at home. I love it. I have two dogs,
Hmm.
my beautiful wife. I have like my life here, and
Hmm.
I sit outside, smoke cigars, watch Netflix, throw tennis balls for the dogs. Like it's like to me, it's like even though like someone else would say, "Oh my goodness, that would be horrible," or "Oh, that would be so awful if that's what I did." I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Like it to me is the best. It's the best. Also, I cook,
Hmm.
so I like when I travel, I can't cook. I have a smoker,
Hmm.
so I smoked turkey, pork butt. I've smoked pork ribs,
Hmm.
kind of thing,
Hmm.
and I barbecue as well as I grill burgers, brats. I got brats in the refrigerator right now. I still got a turkey, part of a turkey that I smoked in there, so like to me, that's really fun. Also, like I cook a lot of Mexican food, Italian food. It's like that to me is fun. Being home,
Hmm.
having my own kitchen, having my own backyard, my wife, my dogs, like this to me is like that is what is feels good to me.
And I can definitely relate to you on a lot of that because I'm always away from home, busy doing who knows what, working, you name it. So I can appreciate your response, and it makes me happy that I'm not the only one going through that.
Yeah. Hey, well, I listened to your podcast and you were talking about your two kids. Is it two
Uh-huh.
sons you have?
I actually have three, but I have two here with me all the
Oh,
time.
okay.
So my oldest son
Well,
is on his own. So yeah.
oh, okay. I liked your story about your son eating cereal for every meal as a side dish. I still think that's hilarious. Like to me, that's like, I mean, that's just real life because everybody has little quirky things, and a
Uh-huh.
lot of times you like those little quirky things, and you remember those rather than just regular stuff.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
like for him someday, like Christmas, I'm gonna tell you, just get him a box of cereal, have it wrapped up. He opens it up. I mean, you could play jokes for the rest of his life, on
Uh-huh.
this. Every year at Christmas, son, I got you something special. I got you 3 boxes. He opens up some big package and it's full of boxes of cereal. You can do that for the rest of your life.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I might have to do that actually. Oh man. Um, so basically, my next one, which we're already talking about, is when you play hard, you experience the happiness. You know what I'm saying? You always focus. You're always working. Like you said, you're in the airport. You're going from city to city, state to state, country to country. And when you do get that time to, I guess, appreciate what you work hard for, you get to experience the happiness, and it makes it that much better. Um, so, which also makes you become an example, in my opinion. Um, and I use the term or the quote, "I want to be like Mike." You know what I'm saying? So it's people that watch you, whether you realize it or not, um, and they're paying attention to how you move, how you work, and even how you reward yourself by relaxing or whatever. But you become an example, and people are looking at you as an example because they're like, I want to be like that. I want to have that type of uh, lifestyle. What do you say to that?
Well, I think that it's probably true to an extent. I mean, I like like I said, it's one of the things on one of the classes that I've taught in the past. It's not exactly like this anymore, but we used to talk about ways people relaxed
Hmm.
and call it rational detachment. And we would talk about different things on like, what do you want to do outside of work? And I always thought it was amazing. Everybody would say, like, somebody might say golfing. Someone would say, I want to camp by myself. Someone else would say, I want to go out with friends and family and go to dinner. I just love going to dinner with people.
Hmm.
And somebody else say, like, I want to drink wine. I love drinking wine. Everybody would have like these things that they like Netflix or whatever, like they'd have these things that to them were wonderful.
Hmm.
But if I took one of those things, I said, okay, so you want to golf, you want to be by yourself at a campsite, by yourself 2 nights in the most isolated area of the woods you can find, and you want to go out to dinner. Like everybody has a different personality, a different way of doing it.
Hmm.
But I think, you know, uh, one of the things that like it's just kind of what I do. Like I try to be pleasant with everybody, nice to everybody,
Hmm.
not just like a work mode thing, but just in general.
Hmm.
And I was thinking about like whenever you go, like if you're on set, I talk to everybody on set just because that's kind of what I do. I talk to everybody. I try to talk to the crew, talk to the other actors, I talk to everybody. I'm friendly to everybody,
Hmm.
and not everybody does that. And
True.
it's just the personality. Like some people might like be more standoffish
Hmm.
or be worried about the scene, so be studying their lines, which I do sometimes. But some people are different on just how they respond to pressure or how they respond to different things. And I I've made a lot of friends in doing acting.
Hmm.
Um, got a little buzz there.
Uh-oh. Okay.
um, there you go. No, I've made a lot of friends with acting, and I've also like I have referred people to roles many times. Like, um, you know, uh, I ask people, hey, so if you got everything filled, what are you looking for? And I've done roles with like with genders, different races, different whatever, like all different people.
Hmm.
And so I've referred a lot of people to roles. I'm talking like 20 people, 30 people probably.
Oh wow.
And they've gotten roles just because I'll ask the director, is everything full? Is everything, and if they say no, I said, well, tell me what you're looking for. And
Yeah, yeah.
I do that. So I've had people do it for me as well a few
Hmm.
times. And, you know, and I try to be nice to everybody. And I try to be like, I guess the part like somebody might see in me is I always want to be helpful. For some reason, I'm built where I want to like, not necessarily like not going out to charities and giving out sandwiches and stuff like that's a different kind of help.
Hmm.
But I always want to help people if
Hmm.
I can. I want to help people, especially if someone's nice to me. I really want to help them. I want to do things to benefit them,
Hmm.
and not for the recognition. I just want to help other people. I want to feel like that feeling like you make a difference.
Hmm.
I get a feeling for it. Like, let's say that you're an actor and I met you on set and I watched you do something and I thought that was really good. And then
Hmm.
someone else is casting for stuff and I say, hey, what else are you looking for? Once I'm in, and
Right.
they'll tell me, and I'll say, hey, I know someone who actually I watched them work. They did a great job. I think that same scene that they did, if you modified it slightly, it could be really great here. And
Hmm.
I said, is it okay if I ask them to call you or whatever? Like I do that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
And
so
and we really could use a lot more of that, honestly. Sometimes people get where they're trying to go and just kind of forget about everybody else and just focus on themselves. So uh, yeah, that's great. That's
yeah,
awesome. Glad to
thanks.
hear it. Says a lot about you. Um, so now that we got play hard out the way, we're going to shift gears again to excuses. Uh, and I call this the get yous. Uh, the first get you is excuses get you nothing. And the second get you is excuses get you nowhere. And the third get you that I have listed here is excuses get you to never accomplish your dreams. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's exactly right. But and it could be back to your first statement. I mean, it could be that some people are lazy. They're just naturally lazy.
Hmm.
And like to me, being lazy is being uninterested. And it could be you have someone who like fleeting interest.
Hmm.
Like I'm interested. I'll give you an example. I'm interested in learning Spanish. I would love to
Okay.
learn Spanish. I would love to
Hmm.
learn Spanish. My wife and I, we lived in Dallas for a year, Irving actually, and we took Spanish classes while we were there
Hmm.
because we lived in a community. It was basically like 40% Hispanic, 40% people from Southern India, and then like 20% white and black folks. So there was like I heard a lot of languages, and
Hmm.
I went to a gas station and I was trying to buy a lottery ticket because I like to invest money. So I was trying to buy a lottery ticket, and I was in a gas station where everyone was Hispanic but me.
Oh
And
wow.
I went up to buy this in Irving, Texas. It's right in the middle of Dallas. But I was in the Hispanic area, and I went in and I tried to buy a lottery ticket, and the lady could not understand me. You know, whatever I
Oh
was saying,
no.
I usually get two. So I get two Powerball,
Uh-huh.
and she had no idea what I was talking about. And she had to go get somebody who spoke English to come and talk to me. And that was kind of my inspiration with, I'm going to learn Spanish. So
Hmm. Hmm.
my wife and I, we went to a 10-week Spanish course. It's fascinating. I learned a
Hmm.
little bit. We also took lessons online with some lady from Mexico would come on and we would talk and she would give us little assignments and we did it like weekly. We did that for a while.
Oh wow.
Um, and I can speak an embarrassing small amount of Spanish, but I can speak a little tiny bit. But it was not like it was a motivation. I was a short fleeting motivation to learn Spanish.
Okay.
And I just didn't have the drive to do it. I have the drive to do some things,
Hmm.
but I did not have the drive in that area. Um, and I think some people don't have the drive in any area. You know? but some people have the drive in different areas. So like if
Right.
you were my Spanish coach,
Mhm.
you would say, you know, I thought he was interested, but he just I don't know what happened to him. He just,
Mhm.
you know, just lazy. You know, I mean, they might
Right,
say
right.
that about me, you know,
Mhm.
and they would probably be able to prove it. They took out all the evidence, they could prove it, you know,
Mhm.
that I was a really lazy man and didn't really fulfill my obligation to Spanish, and they're exactly right.
Mhm.
Um, and you know, I think that's, you try out things. Not everything you're going to excel in, but you try out things. But
Mhm.
like I don't think, like if you decided you were going to learn Spanish and you really were focused on learning Spanish and you had a motivator, I think that would be, you could do it.
Mhm.
But you have to have a real interest, not just a passive interest in learning it.
Right, because
Um,
it takes work and practice and all the
yeah,
other things that we talked
you and
about
I might,
earlier.
yeah, we might be equal on our chances of learning it. We're probably similar, equal
Mhm.
on like our ability to learn Spanish or our ability to
Mhm.
learn Japanese or whatever it is. But
Mhm.
whoever's most motivated. I read a book called Fighter's Heart
Mhm.
years ago. I used to run a Hapkido school in Springfield, Missouri, and I read a book called A Fighter's Heart, and they talked about motivation, and they talked about what they called fuel.
Mhm.
And the guy who wrote the book, he went out, he wanted to do Muay Thai contests. So he went out and he did a couple of those. He did a couple boxing matches and he did a couple MMA. I could be off one or two, but pretty much did a couple of each of these things. But it was
Mhm.
kind of like afterwards, he's all beat up and bruised, and it took him like, you know, it takes a couple of weeks to heal from these things, from
Right.
getting in these matches.
Mhm.
And to him, it was, I did it. And he was talking about the difference between him and the people that had fuel. And
Mhm.
the people that had fuel and motivation, one lady had a mother that was mentally ill, and she had motivation that motivated her. And there was
Mhm.
another guy in the UFC. This is from like 20 years ago when it first came out. He moved to Beddorf, Iowa, wherever it was, where they had all the people were training for a while. He um, his stepdad, I guess they said every week or every time he goes in and fights, he's beating up his stepdad.
Huh,
And
wow.
you know, he had the motivation, and
Mhm.
that's what they said. He said that was his motivation, and then he would go in like like I'm going to get even kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so he just kept going in the ring over and over and over. Where this guy was a regular dude, and
Right.
he went in, you know, lost his MMA fight. Talked about how his face was like, it was embarrassing walking around, you know, like it was
Yeah.
and you do these fights in front of these huge audiences,
Right.
and you know, and if you win or lose, you know, everybody sees. And to him, it wasn't something he wanted to do over and over. And he talked about some people have motivation, and I always think like the Spanish, like if I was married to a woman who was from Mexico,
Mhm.
or a lady who's from El Salvador or Peru or whatever, and we were going home to visit her family and she was coming up here, or like a group outings we would go on, and everybody
Mhm.
spoke Spanish but me, I would have fuel. I would have
Yes,
motivation. Like, I got to
exactly.
learn Spanish. You know, same
Mhm.
thing. Somebody marries somebody from the Philippines. I've got to learn Tagalog or whatever. Like they have to, like you get motivated. And
Absolutely.
my motivation was going to buy a lottery ticket. I'll just go to the store where they speak English. You know, so, you know, I
Big
just
big
didn't have the,
difference.
I didn't have the
Yeah,
fuel. I didn't have the
right,
fuel. And some
right.
people, you know, you get like some people have fuel for different things. Like you have
Mhm.
fuel for the podcast.
Mhm.
Whatever it is inside of you, this is something you want to do. So what is your motivation?
Wow, great question and great examples, actually. What is my motivation? I would say to help people, because I see a lot of people out there dealing with things every day, and usually the same things over and over because they don't know how to fix the issue or get out of it. So when I present these type of topics and you know do the whole show, in the back of my mind are those people that I see who are dealing with those issues, and my ultimate goal is to hopefully they watch it and get the points that I'm bringing out that maybe they haven't thought of, or give them a different angle of
Yeah.
reasoning so that they can make things better or get out of the situations that they're in. So that's kind of the juice that uh, that lubricates my
Yeah.
my joints and gets me going.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I was
Mhm.
going to tell you, like on, uh, I'm kind of shifting topic. I'm going to play like you asked. Oh, here's the answer to your question. Um, I was so excited. I had, I think my head's in the way here, but best day of your life.
Mhm.
Um, I was in that, and it was like one of my best experiences. It got in the Kansas City Film Festival and won
Mhm.
the audience award.
Oh,
And the
nice.
Kansas City Film Festival is no joke. It's like you don't get in it. I don't know what they 1 in 8 chance of getting in it or whatever. But then winning an award was wonderful. But the part that I liked best is my wife came, both my daughters and their husbands came, my sister came,
Wow.
my dad came, his girlfriend came, um, my wife's husband came, like my aunt came,
Wow. A lot of
and
support.
my cousin, and my cousin's husband, my other cousin, like they all came to watch that, and that was wonderful. We met, ate the dinner, and then we all went, and that was
Mhm.
in 2022. 2024, Wholesome Grove. Whoop whoop! It's reverse of me. Wholesome Grove. um, we went to that. It was kind of the same thing. My sister couldn't make it, but all the other people came, and that we watched that at the Kansas City Film Festival, and it won Best Heartland Feature,
Oh, wow.
and that was a big deal. Like I said, actually, Wholesome, both of these won multiple awards,
Mhm.
the Best Day of Your Life and Wholesome Grove. But the one that was important to me was that it was actually shown in Kansas City, Wholesome Grove 2024.
Nice.
They both won other awards. They're both available like on Amazon Prime or
Mhm.
Tubi or like Roku and things. But the fact that everybody came up, we had dinner. I had more cousins there this time, you know, and we all came up. We ate dinner together, and then we went and watched the movie. And I just thought it was just like those are some of my best experiences. Like, and it was all made from spending the time and effort and all that. Like that was the reward.
Right.
Uh, all the other
Absolutely.
stuff was good, but that was the reward. Having people
Yeah.
watch it, and tell me I did a good job and all that, it made me feel really good, and it was like a really fun experience. Uh,
Absolutely. And with all your support team with you there supporting you, it's kind of like validation on top of the winning the award. That's excellent. I'm glad to hear that you had that experience. Uh, you know, that's awesome.
it was
uh,
really
uh,
fun. It was really nice. I had the 2024. I have a friend Sean who came and a friend Marcus who came, and I got to hang out with them, and they were there.
mhm.
And it's Marcus and McIntosh and I have been in a bunch of stuff together, so like we were both in Dead Legion. Well, this thing's reverse. Man, I am not smart enough to get that mirroring stuff down. But, we were both. Oh, there it is. We were both in Dead Legion. This is me.
Mhm.
I'm actually on a T-shirt here, but we were both. That's Marcus. We were both in Dead Legion together, so it was nice because he was not in Wholesome Grove, but he came to watch it,
Mhm.
which was really nice. And then Sean Kiesling, he gets out less than me, but he actually came. He came with his wife Michelle, and they watched it. It was just kind of nice having like all these people there. Really cool.
Absolutely. And it's kind of when you did that, I kind of laughed because you literally talked about that earlier. When you're acting, you got to make sure you use the right hand for.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, I can do it. Well, I'm
So,
just not used to, like, when you look in a mirror, you do
uh-huh,
this and it comes up on that side, not that
uh-huh,
side. Here it goes exact opposite. So
yeah,
it's
cameras.
flipped on me. So
So yeah, this is great, man. I'm loving how this is flowing. So we're gonna transition from excuses to laziness, which we mentioned already as well. Um, and I like to highlight the laziness or the lazy type of person as the have-nots. Um, so we mentioned the haves in the beginning, with those people who work hard, but the lazy people, we'll just classify them as the have-nots. And also the hard worker, we title them as like the leader or the owner, but the people who are lazy are more in the classification of renters and followers. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's true. I very few things are absolute, so there's
Mhm,
always
mhm.
exceptions.
Absolutely.
Um, but I think given a choice, like even for promotions
Hmm.
at work, one person sees the promotion as I'm going to make 10,000 more a year, whatever, and they see it as, yeah, I'm going to have to work a lot of extra hours, and other people say, yeah, but if you work 10 extra hours a week, it's not worth it to me, and that's fine. There's different people, different points in life.
Hmm.
But the other person, oh, that's $4 an hour for the extra work. Plus, you're going to supervise people. You're going to have to, talk to them and have write up your friends, and and kind of not be included. Like there's certain, there's a sacrifice.
Absolutely.
There's a
Absolutely.
sacrifice if you want more. There's a sacrifice, and at times I have been willing to make that sacrifice, and at times I have not. Um, so I cannot be an absolute, like just a single pointed. I'm going straight up.
Hmm.
Not necessarily. Like I said, I've had a couple jobs like that where it's like really, um, when I worked with the Department of Corrections, I had 245 people that worked there at the same time I did, and I was the director of the program.
Hmm.
Um, and it was really hard, and I kind of learned um, it's not really what I want to do. I
Hmm.
would rather, I really, I would rather do something that's maybe not where work is my life.
I
You
mean,
know?
that's really powerful because with a lot of people, it's timing.
Yeah.
And then with a lot of other people, it might be just a mindset, or a combination of the two when it comes to laziness or whatever they're trying to figure out what they want to do, or their situation and where they sit for the time frame. Um, but yeah, I like everything that you've been saying. You're hitting everything that I'm trying to hit with this episode. So,
Yeah.
did you have something else to say?
No, I do think that sometimes people have an advantage, and some it can be a random fill in the blank here.
Hmm.
Let's say, like honestly, you like I'm talking about acting again. Like you look like the part they're looking for,
Hmm.
and like that's why it's easy to be friends with Marcus. That's probably my best buddy acting because we are so different. We're
Uh-huh.
never going head to head for something, so I can
Uh-huh.
help him prepare. He could help me prepare.
Hmm.
We can go do things because we are never competing against each other. And if it was another old white dude like me, I don't want to help him become better. I'm bad. I'm bad. I don't know. But I want Marcus to win. I want
Uh-huh.
him to do well. I like him. Omega Edwards too, same thing. And like some of these people, I want them to do better and I want to
Hmm.
help them. But I mean,
Hmm.
there is some of that stuff where if I mean, you want everybody to do as good a job as possible. I just wouldn't go the extra mile for someone um, that I'm competing with directly.
I
And
understand.
I do think also, like, for instance, like somebody might not be looking for him or might not be looking for me. And so it could be depending on the parts. Like one, uh, I'm 55 years old.
Mhm.
What I have seen is when I'm looking for roles, even recently on this group I was with, they put out the roles. We're looking for people that are 24 to 30 and attractive and whatever. Like they'll have this whole thing. I looked at this group. They had like 6 or 7 roles. None of them I could even fudge close to. None of them were even
Yeah.
40. You know,
Uh-huh.
they all were like young people.
Mhm.
And so like there's a group in Kansas called Maxi Billion Studios.
Mhm.
And I like them because I play the father and I play the uncle for, for people that are, you know, that fit that 20 to 30 age range.
Right.
And, you know, and I can do those types of roles, but they're not going to have anything like Wholesome Grove was wonderful
Mhm.
and Best Day of Your Life, Troublesome also, and River Beauty because they needed someone like me.
Right.
They needed someone who is like, I look like an older successful businessman. I
Mhm.
look like a dirty cop. You know, I look like okay, we can see it. We can see it in this guy. You know, where you know they're not going to have me as the Hallmark movie. I'm the young guy going to this town to fall in love with a hillbilly. No,
Right. Right.
no, oh, no, I shouldn't say I'm being honored here. No, but they're not going to have me as the handsome young man who goes to the country and sees the pumpkin patch and has all these innovative ideas on how to help the pumpkin patch and then marry the lady who owns the pumpkin patch who inherited it from her parents who died early or whatever, like you know, this Hallmark movie.
Right.
They're
Oh
not going
yeah.
to have me as the center.
Mhm.
I could be the banker who's coming in to foreclose on the pumpkin patch. So I could have a little
Right.
part like that. But as far as
Mhm.
me lead roles, it's going to be really hard. There's going to be opportunities. And Marcus, the exact same way. We've talked about it. Like he'll see these roles that he'd be perfect for,
Mhm.
but he doesn't meet the qualifications. And the same with me. I say, hey, I could do that, but I'm 30 years too old, you know, or
Yep.
whatever it is.
Yep.
So I mean, that's
So
part of. So sometimes I'm saying that like, and it's way bigger than that. But sometimes like uh, people have doors closed, um, at least some doors
yeah.
closed. Because obviously I've done a lot of stuff, even though I've had some
Mhm.
doors closed because I don't fit
Mhm.
what they're looking for. And I
Mhm.
think some people have more doors closed than others based on different things. But I still think if you keep knocking at the door, it's just going to take more determination. You got to still keep trying because if you don't try, like then if it's just then it's just a fleeting interest. If it's something
Absolutely.
you really want to do, you got to keep trying. You got to keep pushing for it. You got to keep doing it. And I said, I know some people it's easier than others. You know, like some of those famous actors have parents that are famous actors. You know,
Mhm.
Mozart. My father's a music teacher who specializes in teaching instruments to children. I think is what he specialized in. So now he's
Nice.
got this son, like, and it's like, well, you got a huge advantage. Tiger Woods, huge advantage.
Mhm.
You know, like having people who understand something at a high level and start that practice routine and get you going. However, like if you didn't have that, you still can make it. You just got to. It's just going to be a different path.
True. So true. So you mentioned a lot, and you kind of took care of the next section that I was looking at. But that was great. So we were talking about laziness, and when we spoke about hard workers, it was kind of like a warm, reach for the sky type of uh, feeling, and laziness is more cold, uh, complaining a lot, unhappy, out of shape. But
Oh,
basically, the
oh, whoa,
biggest
out of shape, out of shape. Whoa, whoa. You're gonna see me. I got. If you watch Todd Sheets' next movie, you're gonna see me in my underwear, and I'm gonna I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna disagree with that one just because I don't want to come back and edit this.
not literally, but just we'll just say not literally. And then you tend to be the type of person when you're on the lazy side of things to hope, wish, and want things. which will eventually lead to giving up on certain things, uh, uh, which will eventually lead to getting left behind. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with what you just said 100%. I know people that that rather than doing something, pray or have positive thoughts about it, which
Hmm.
is actually wonderful,
Hmm.
but they never take any action. So it's like if they're waiting for rescue,
Oh, wow.
and
Great way to put
you
that.
know, and they're waiting to be rescued from whatever situation they're in. And and it's not that positive thoughts, prayer, like, are a negative thing, but if you're not doing anything except for that, you're
Hmm.
probably going to be in the same situation, a month later, a year later, and you're still going to be hoping that things get better, you know.
Wow.
So
Uh, that was excellent. And it was also the way that I want this to go. And it definitely wraps up this episode. Man, that was great.
hey, thank you.
Once again, I have tailored an episode to my guest, and you made the episode work exactly and go the direction that I wanted to, and you even wrapped it up in the way that I hoped that it will go. So, wow, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Ament, do you have any last words you want to say or highlight something that's coming up before we go?
Um, no, I think I have given enough little plugs already, but I appreciate you having me on. I actually really enjoyed it. I had
Oh,
no idea what to expect.
uh-huh.
I sent you a message saying, "Hey, what are we going to talk about?" And you said, "Hey, I got topics." Like, whoa, whoa! You're supposed to say, "Hey, buddy, here's what we're going to talk about." But no, I actually think it worked out well. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for being here. And the reason I do that is when you tell somebody what's this going to be about, then they kind of predetermine, and
Sure.
it's not really genuine. So when I spring it on you, like once we get live, it's everything is spontaneous, which makes it work that much better. So yeah, I appreciate you being here. Heck, man, if we can continue or connect in the future, I'd love to have you back. Uh, but I think this was a great episode. I'm glad you had a good time.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's life. We'll see you later. Take care.